Celebration time. It don't matter what part of the jewel you come from. You da you and me da me. But guess what? All are we the one. See what I mean? Jump and shout all over the nation. We're breaking out with a new creation.
Older Persons Week is a time set aside annually to spotlight the triumphs and challenges of our elderly population. Each year, Help Age Belize hosts a series of activities to keep the focus on the elderly. This year, the week was celebrated with the theme, The Resilience and Contributions of Older Women. Dr. Rene Villanueva was one of the guest speakers at an activity held at the Sister Cecilia Home for the Elderly. We will share some of the highlights of the visit after we hear from our partners, Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust, the Barry, Shell Belize, and the National Gas Company.
Shell V-Power, with 3 times more cleaning and friction-reducing molecules. Go well. Go Shell.
I remember the days when trucks used to line up at the Guatemala border, and we could have only watch as they come in loaded with LPG and then left with Belizean dollars. Things changed since, because the Belizeans they drive now, that we have the jobs, and are definitely proud to be able to keep me dollars home. Either Elvis Roaches and either one of the Belizean drivers for the National Gas Company. I haul butane from the new state-of-the-art terminal to the port of Big Creek. The hard work, but at the end of the day, I go home to my family and provide for them. Thanks to NGC, I did do my leap part to build my country. We the all Belizeans on this team, and we're proud to work hard to deliver one product will last longer and give you more value for money. I proud to work at NGC, and for you we Belizean people.
The National Gas Company Belize Limited, fueling Belize forward.
We are the Barry, offering you great products, good service, and of course, the lowest prices in the entire country. Visit us in Belize City, Belmopan, San Ignacio Cayo, Orange Rock, and now in San Pedro, La Isla Bonita. The Barry. Get more? Feel less.
Since 2008, the Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust has created opportunities for Belizeans to develop themselves and their communities. The trust employs tools that are intuitive, collaborative, and accessible so that every Belizean is empowered to achieve their full potential. Over 200,000 Belizeans have been impacted because of our various initiatives. The Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust, empowering Belizeans of today to create the Belize of tomorrow.
It don't matter what part of the jewel you come from.
When we apply the formula of faith, hope, and love to our individual lives, we find the secret of aging gracefully, happy with ourselves and with others. Jesus said, there are 2 commandments, which are the greatest commandments. The first is love God with all your heart and soul and mind, and the second, love your neighbor as yourself. You will note here, however, that he did not say to love your neighbor more than yourself. He said, love your neighbor as yourself. He says these 2 commandments, though, are really one. And he went on to say, so today as we age, let us learn the lesson of love. And it starts with loving ourselves. That's where it starts, right? And in doing so, you will discover love itself, and then will be able to love your neighbor because you understand what love is all about. Now, that love will inspire to set our goals in faith. Jesus said, faith is believing. All things are possible for one who believes. We move forward with hope that should always be within us, even more so as we grow older. Hope inspires passion, and you must let that passion burn brighter than your fears. My late mother, Reverend Helen Villanueva's favorite scriptures is found in Proverbs. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. So keep a healthy mind with positive thoughts. Keep stress and worries away as much as you can. Keep on learning new things. Cultivate a spirit of joy and gratitude. Give, I put ourselves because I have to remember all of this where to talk about. Give ourselves something to think about, a new goal, no matter how large the goal is and no matter how small. Always have something you're heading towards. Keep looking forward as you enjoy the present. Keep hope alive.
Those were some of the words of Dr. Rene Villanueva as she addressed some of the elderly at the Sister Cecilia Home for the Elderly. Following the address, he spoke with some of the elderly who are involved with Help Age Belize. Bertha Huesner is originally from the Corozal district. She shared her journey to Belize City and spoke of her family, including her husband of 50 years.
And I'm here with Mrs. Bertha Huesner. Miss Bertha, how are you?
Okay.
You're doing okay, Miss Bertha?
Yes. I always okay. When they ask me, how are you? I say, well, good enough. Good enough to go ahead.
That's a very important answer, Miss Bertha, because a lot of us sometimes forget that we have to say, we're good, you know? And what makes you so good enough? Why do you always answer in such a joyous way?
Because you got to be happy. Don't make nobody make you unhappy. Because are you responsible for yourself. Don't want nobody tell you, girl laugh, girl cry. Right? You do what you want for you. Yeah. You have to do it. And you have to be happy every day. Every day. Make nobody make you unhappy. Because that will keep you the go when you're happy. You could ask the whole neighborhood where we live. We live on Albert Street, the street before Birds Eye, Albert Street West. I always happy. Nobody know when I got problem because first they fill somebody else with your problem. Not for you. So you try solve it.
So you are in charge of your own feeling, of your own moving ahead. But what's the formula that you use? Because some people would say, well, it's easier said than done. What's your formula?
Well, you get up in the morning and you start do your day. You plan your day. You have to plan your day. If you don't plan your day, then it went chaos for you, know. You plan your day and you just follow this step by step. Go into everything at the same time. That way, relax you, and you finish the day. You finish the day.
Your day. Now, let's get to know about your life now, Miss Bertha. You were born in Belize City, I take it? Corozal. Okay. Well, eres corozaleña. Ajá. ¿Y cómo llegaste aquí a la ciudad de Belize?
I came in Spanish.
No, man, in English, I'm just
I came when I was 18 years. I went to work at Williamson's Industry. It was $16 a week. You may think that you get 15. I may get $16 a week. And that's how I met my partner here.
So you came as a young girl from Corozal and started working at the Williams Industries sewing factory. I remember that sewing factory very well. It's no longer in Belize. I was very sad to see it go, really, because it
employed a lot of women. A lot of males used to do the more industrial things now, but a lot of sewing, a lot of girls used to get a job. And they used to carry with, lately they carried in a bus, but when I worked there, we used to go in a truck, a long bench in a truck. Yes. But, you have to do what you have to do for your life. And
How did you hear about Williamson Corozal? What made you say, okay, I pick up and go to Belize and work there?
Employ. So I had to get on one test. Like you put here and there and here and there and there to see how you respond to the fastness out in the factory, and I pass it. So I was employed then.
So as a young girl working and you said you met your husband there? Was he?
He was here.
He was here in Belize. Okay.
Go to Bird's Isle, they had him jump up every Sunday, nice jump up. No violence, no, like no, you're not afraid. And that day I meet her.
To put a timeline to all of this, what year are you talking about?
In the 70s. 70s.
Yeah, the 70s I was at Radio Belize at the time. Yes. So you met your husband at Bird's Isle, I take it from the mere fact you mentioned Bird's Isle, I take it was one of these parties at Bird's Isle, you met him.
You want to tell you what he had on? He had on jeans and a shirt, Hawaiian, how the Hawaiian shirt, they look, a green Hawaiian shirt. And I looked from where I was, they say, you don't exist, but you do exist. Love at first sight. And I me like see the boy. I be like see. And maybe we correspond from far. I don't know, the telepathy was there or whatever. He find me too. He find me. I may live the first lane. I may live on Albert Street West.
How did he find you?
I guess he see me. He see me the same time I saw him.
So he followed you home or?
No. He just come around and past my house. I mean, they stayed at first lane. He just passed to see if he go catch you. If we go catch the fish now. Yeah, but he has been a good one, a good husband. He has been a good provider and a good example for children. I got 2 boys and a girl.
Okay.
So.
Remind us his name again.
It's Charles Houston.
Charles Houston. Yes. So Charles and yourself have been together for how many years?
50 years.
50?
1973, the 3rd of March, we got 50 years. When you have to say that 50 years?
50 closer to March and then farther.
The 3rd of March, 1973.
And you where you got married in and
Right here in Belize.
but at what church? And
St. Ignatius.
St. Ignatius.
Father Mesma.
Remember Father Mesma very well?
Yes, that he married me.
And 50 years later, you are here, right? And both of you are still going strong.
Yes. In life consists of many things, up and down, but you have to bring it down. When you go up too high, you bring it down. You bring it down. You have to do examples where you give me. I had a mother and a father with voice. Not sit down and tell you, counsel you and so. Then just voice it. And I hear it. I remember I tell you, when someone do you anything wrong, that he hurt you, you do the opposite. So, and the same opposite will heal the hurt that you have.
That's right.
And maybe you teach them how to live in life. Because I say, I am a Christian, and the definition for Christian for me is living with the human race in harmony, in peace. That am I, because I don't know one religious, but I believe. My beliefs are there. But if you don't know for live with your neighbor, I lived in that neighborhood from 1973. And nobody could tell. And we had children, sometimes you quarrel for children and so. And we left them. We left them alone. Because children will be children, and you want to fight with the mother or the auntie and so, and then later on the children, they play. Yeah.
But it's important I think what you're telling me here, that you learned to love yourself first.
Because once you love yourself first, then you go tolerate everybody else.
Easier for you doing it. Easy. And forgive. If you don't forgive, you'll never be happy. You have to forgive. Because then you're bitter. You're bitter in life knowing that this may happen to me. This may happen. It happened to everybody. But you have to deal with your one.
So you're at Williamson as a young girl. You met your husband. You fell in love with your husband. And you started a family. You said you had two boys and a girl, right? What did you continue working at Williamson after married, or you stayed at home and raised your children?
Stayed at home, mom.
Okay, stayed at home.
Yes, I breeze. My husband go work. He's a fisherman, and he provides for us. So I had to stay. Well, I not had to, but I choose to stay so I could raise them the proper way. And so I got one son that's a marine mechanic, Charles, and Oscar is a boat captain. Well, Melanie stay home like me, but she has a good provider. She is married. Oscar is married. But Charles, the oldest one, no married. I don't think that will happen.
Is your husband still fishing? Like Charles is still fishing?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I knew him as a fisherman. Yeah. I just said that. It came back to me, and I know him very well.
At National.
Yes, I know him very well. So.
He's still fishing. He gone to the elephant. He gone today.
He catch out a fish when he go? No.
Well, he do mostly lobster.
Okay, lobster.
He do lobster. So yes, we catch enough. Enough is enough for us then. You know, 'cause when you're 70, you know I'm very rich. You cannot be rich, but if you're comfortable with what you have, let's go. We go ahead.
Now we are aging, right? And I say we because myself, I am more or less I'm in the same age range like you. You know, so we are aging. Share with me your views on how we can live a very good life, even as we grow older.
Well, as you grow older, you know you can't do the same thing when you're 20 to when you're 70. You accept that you're old, and your limit won't be there for you. You won't see it. So your talk, your views that, you know, because you're old, you want to show me like one clad on the side. It's my old clad, right? I am here, I am living here. So I have to take part I live here in the country, so you have to take part whatever. You know, I used to tell my children, you obey the law because the country has a law. Obey the law and you'll never get in trouble. If they tell you not go there, you not forgot. If they tell you not enter here, you don't enter. And there's the jail, but you don't have to go. You don't have to go to the jail.
Do you think we're giving, as a country, enough attention to our elderly?
No. No, we got a lot of people. I have a friend as old as I am, well, she's 5 years older than me. Nobody nothing to her. I gone to the human resources. Well, cut it in just a minute, upstairs. I climb way up there. I gone 2 times to try put her in the program. Making a social worker go and visit her, and you know, she there in our little house where hands in hands my bill. Wow. Yes. And she had a stroke, and the same stroke make he fall down, he broke his hip. So he disabled. And she's the lady, the social worker went, they put her on for 1 month. Right that bottom dollar, they get the food for her. And when I called back, because she asked me to call back and see if she will be on the program for this month. They tell me we have to review for she case. Wow. And when they gone, she had a battle, discipline by his sister again. He said, where you get money for buy that? That's one question with the social worker. Wow. So they have to look into more, because Miss Everett said asking me if she need help. I know want to go again because they don't feel like, well, that's my opinion, no? They don't feel like the media should this thing for me. But it's for her. It's for her. She called me, you know, got water. Wow.
What do you think we could do to alleviate all this? Because I notice you're here at Help Age. That means you help here at Help Age as well. You know, how could we go about alleviating the needs or fulfilling the needs of our elderly?
They have to review more. They have to go more. Yes, because she's here. She's one of us. She's one of us. She's the one. In the population count, she will be counted. And then just okay. Then okay at all, man. Sometimes got water, it's simple water. I have to get at least $2 to make somebody could buy, the little bag water. Because I could help them, but no everything I can't take on. I always say, like, if you made it closer to me, because you live way there, Jane Osha, Bolivar. If you made it closer, I could help you more. From the same pot where I cook, you could get one plate of dinner. But there is no way I could go way there every day. Because it costs me like $7 to go see it in a taxi.
Well, these are things that we have to turn around and address. And so you think...
Things where some people lucky that they have somebody who will look after them, but a lot of old people there where nobody is being taken care of.
What year did you come to Help Age and start to help in getting with our elderly?
Well, 6 years ago, I came here, and I just like it. I like fool around with them, with older people, and children. I got a voice for calm them down and talk to them. Just one I want to give you. Legal going to Adventist school, I eat one dukunu and I pass on the street. I be able to tell her, do that, man. He said, "God, this street belong to you?" I tell him, you eat one dukunu at your house, you don't trade in your house because of your house. He picked up my curtain of the garbage. But you have to know how to talk to them. You can't just ignore that because maybe you could help, right? You pick it up, and you carry it to the school garbage. So that's just one example, that if we interact with the population we got, what happen? It could happen. But only few we. Yes. Yeah.
Leotin Gillette Lewis is aiming to be a centenarian. She has a love for politics and recollects the opposition she received from her family. We also hear from former Mr. Belize, Joseph McLaren, who spoke on the importance of nutrition, rest, and exercise. We take a break to hear from our partners.
Shell V-Power, with 3 times more cleaning and friction-reducing molecules. Go well. Go Shell.
I remember the days when trucks used to line up at the Guatemala border, and we could have my only watch as they come in loaded with LPG and then left with Belizean dollars. Things changed since, because the Belizeans they drive now, that we have the jobs, and are definitely proud to be able to keep my dollars home. Either Elvis Roaches and either one of the Belizean drivers for the National Gas Company. I haul butane from the new state-of-the-art terminal to the port of Big Creek. The hard work, but at the end of the day, I go home to my family and provide for them. Thanks to NGC, I do my lead part to build my country. We the all Belizeans on this team, and we're proud to work hard to deliver one product will last longer and give you more value for money. I proud to work at NGC, and for you we Belizean people.
The National Gas Company Belize Limited, fueling Belize forward.
We are the Barry, offering you great products, good service, and of course, the lowest prices in the entire country. Visit us in Belize City, Belmopan, San Ignacio Cayo, Orange Rock, and now in San Pedro, La Isla Bonita. The Barry. Get more? Feel less.
Since 2008, the Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust has created opportunities for Belizeans to develop themselves and their communities. The Trust employs tools that are intuitive, collaborative, and accessible so that every Belizean is empowered to achieve their full potential. Over 200,000 Belizeans have been impacted because of our various initiatives. The Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust, empowering Belizeans of today to create the Belize of tomorrow.
It don't matter what part of the jewel they come from.
I'm with Miss Leotine Gillett. And Miss Gillett, I have seen you and I've known about you for quite some time, but we have not yet spoken formally about your life and who is Miss Leotine Gillett. So let's get to know you closely. Who is Miss Leotine Gillett?
Leotine Gillett has been here for 97 years in Belize and in New York and otherwise. And I've been a school teacher for a long time and a politician along with, along with Philip Goldson and Manuel Esquivel and others, mostly in HIP. But then afterwards, I became on the slate with NIP. And then I ran. Well, it was for city council, and along with Helen Taylor, the late Helen Taylor, Philip Goldson, Colville Young, and 4 others. I came in third. Well, I was popular as a school teacher. Yes, so I came in third, but my father didn't want me to be in that line at all. Uncle Calvert Shane, he encouraged me though to be in the political life, but not my father. My father did everything to keep me away because he said my lifestyle was too delicate to be in that, and it's a nasty business. So he did everything until I went away. So I stayed in New York for 30 years.
That's a long time you were away. But I want to go back to the early days when you joined the HIP, because the HIP was a Honduran independent party that came out of the split that happened at Riverside Hall between Philip Golson, George Price, Nicholas Pollard, I think Lee Richardson was still here, that split happened. You know, what can you recall of that split? Because that's what led to the HIP that you said you were associated with.
Yes, I was on the outside looking in. And I wasn't really in the inner circle because, well, I tell you why. I didn't have encouragement. And my family, especially my father, no, it's a dirty business, keep away from that. So I was mostly with the NIP.
Okay, so you did not take part in the HIP?
No.
But because you mentioned that you're part of the formation of it, so I asked you the question. No, the NIP is a result of the National Party and the HIP coming together.
Yes.
You know, and they took the national from the National Party and the IP from the HIP, and so it became the National Independence Party, NIP. So you could tell me about those days, though.
Yes, those days I can tell you about that. When I was young and beautiful,
I could imagine.
and very active politically and in the teaching profession, and very popular, and had a big mouth because I used to talk a lot. But my teaching, my management didn't like the idea because then sometimes in becoming vociferous, I am sometimes nasty. So They didn't like that. And my father was glad when I went away. So that was the most I've been in there, in the city council.
You were part of the city council? You were ever part of the city council? You said the most you've been in the city council. You were part of the city council?
I ran for it and lost.
Oh, yeah, you lost. You lost.
Yes.
And after that, you went to the States?
Yes, I went to the States. But then I became active with all the Belize groups that were there. The Queen of the Bay Committee. As a matter of fact, I trained the contestants, and I was a member also in the what you call it again, with Dr.
Concerned
Pike.
Belizean?
Dr. Pike.
Concerned Belizeans?
The Concerned Belizeans, but I was not active with that. I was active with the national crowd. That is with Dr. Pike and Fairweather, Compton Fairweather. Yes. And others. I can't recall them right now.
But the thing is that you kept that close tie to home, and you kept a keen interest in what was happening back home while you were staying in the United States for those 30 years. Yeah. Now, what did you do in those 30 years to sustain yourself in the United States?
Oh, I was into merchandising with J.C. Penney and with different groups, different sales people. And I traveled a lot. Being in management, I traveled over different parts of the states. So I became known in that field. But that was not with Belizeans. That was with Americans and others.
What spurred the decision to come back to Belize?
When I came back to Belize, well, I came right back to the Queen of the Bay.
Yeah, I can remember you doing Queen of the Bay, yeah.
Yes, and with political parties.
Now, Miss Gillett, you are 97 years old. But
97 years young.
Thanks for the correction. I like the correction. You are 97 years young.
Yes.
Right? What's the secret?
Well, I laugh at life. I live and love and laugh. Yeah. And I'm very family conscious, family oriented. As a matter of fact, my hobby is ancestry, the Stains ancestry and the Renault's ancestry, so that I'm able to tell maybe the third, sixth generation all that happened with my great-grandaunt, my great-grandfather, or something like that. But, yeah, that is my first love, ancestry.
So you can trace the whole family tree and what have you. You're married into Gillett, right?
I married Gillett. I was a Stain, married Gillett, and then married to an old bloke, Leo Lewis. He's American.
But you keep the name. They keep the name Gillett, right?
I keep the name Gillett. Leontine Gillett Lewis, because I travel a lot. And in my passport, it is Gillett. Leontine Lewis Gillett. So.
Very good. Now, so the secret you're saying is to learn to laugh at yourself, learn to laugh at things, learn not take yourself too serious, and what have you.
Live and love and laugh.
You still love up until today?
Oh, yes.
What do you love the most?
I'm in love right now with you.
Huh? My goodness, I'm honored, right?
Well, I might tell you that I have always been very popular with boys and with the men, and it's because I live and love and laugh, and that is my secret up to now. Yes, I like to be with company, and I like to laugh. I like to tell them about myself and all the little things that I went through. Not so good, but I don't want to say it here.
But as we age and we want to age gracefully, that's one of the things that keep us going. The ability to have that sense of humor, the ability to maybe hang around people younger than ourselves who, in age, who could appreciate where we're coming from, right?
Yes, and I've never forgotten the master above. I have even learned that from your mom, from Helen Villanueva. You never forget where you came from and where you're going. And she was the one who told me, live and love and laugh. She was the one who told me that. And I've always remembered those words.
My grandmother was a Gillett, right? So my mom was Gillett Elliott, right? Gillett Elliott married Villanueva, right? So Burrell Boom is connected to, all of us are connected to Burrell Boom, basically.
Yes, I'm connected to Burrell Boom, especially with the Gillett, and got to find out that the Gillett oriented from Scotland and Ireland. And that is how come they call them Boom Bakra. When I ask why Boom Bakra, it say, oh, it is back raw, because they were all white. And when they came to this country, they get sunburn.
So the backs were raw.
Yes. And so that is why they
call them Bakra.
Bakra. That's right. But otherwise, I had a good life with my in-laws. And, well, that's another story.
Now that you are this young, right? Do you have plans for the future? What are your plans? What are the plans for the future now that you are this young?
Well, my ambition is to become a centenarian, like my good friend, late good friend, Viola Miles, and others who became 105. At the moment, Terence Clark is will be 102. And I associate with them as long as they can listen and hear all my wickedness and all my... and they will listen to me and hear and join in the conversation and in my stories from way back that I have learned from my Aunt Eva, from my Aunt Sue, and these are grand-aunt, you know. And I learned so much from them. And I can share that with a number of younger people, younger than I.
Well, I don't want to hear some of the story, but I guess you might not have the time for telling me all the stories right now. One of these days you might have to do a show where I could just listen to all these stories that you have.
Some of them are nasty.
But telling jokes is important as you grow older, you know, being able to have a sense of humor. I would never want to lose my sense of humor. All right. I have met up with a friend of mine who I've known for quite some time, but I haven't seen you for quite some time, and that's Joseph McLaren, Mr. Belize. What were the years that you were Mr. Belize?
1979 and 1983, but apart from that, I used to compete with Ben McCann, and that was the only guy that I couldn't hit in my time because he was a very good top bodybuilder in his days.
Ben McCann indeed was a good bodybuilder.
The best, and that's the only guy I couldn't catch up on. But apart from that, I was in the line behind him for several years.
And but you won international competitions, right?
Yes, that was Ben Mackay went to Netherlands till 1975, and then he placed 6th, and the next year I decided to train a little bit harder and participate into 1976. And I went to Acapulco and I took second place in the middleweight, and then I won best chest in the overall competition.
And what brought you to Help Age Belize? What brought you to Help Age Belize?
Well, Help Age Belize, I come because first I had a gym on St. Thomas Street, but the president and I went down the road and decided to come with Miss Boulevard, and she allowed me this building to come, and I decided to take on the elderly from there, go back, because there's nobody in Belize want to fit a calendar where I can help people have a disability, stroke, or elderly at any age.
Now, how important it is for the elderly to, let's say, come to a gym like this one that you have, because you have a fully equipped gym, from what I can see here, almost fully equipped.
Well, in here we have exercise to any age, from young child to a mother or father, 90 or over. Once the body could move, we could exercise them in here.
But the age, then how important is it for them to stay engaged and exercise?
Well, to exercise, with aging, you have to exercise, because if you don't exercise when you age, you start to have different aches and pains in the limbs of the body. And once the limb of the body starts to fall apart, like your feet, your knees, your hip, your legs, your arm, and the back, then you start to have a disarray body where you stay in your bed and just think about pass off, because there's nobody there to support you. But in here, whenever you come here, there's a support. You get 100% that you're allowed to move your body and stay engaged with everybody in society.
So what is the process to come into the gym and exercise? What does a person who resides here at the Help Age have to do to come in and exercise? They register or just walk in, or how does that work?
No, the people in the Help Age, yeah, we exercise them free, but some of them want to exercise more effectively. With them, we charge them a fee for that. If they want to do it on a regular basis, which you know over there, we only do it on Wednesday. But if anybody wants to fit into on a daily basis, they spend on their disability or their health condition, overweight, or they're underweight, or they have some kind of chronic problem, then we fit in them with a certain price.
Yeah. No, is this system open to the public? Can the public come in and exercise with that elderly person? Let's say I have an elderly relative here, and I need for you to exercise that elderly relative. Can I exercise along with that relative? Or?
Well, yes, we do allow that to a certain degree, because we want you to see what the elderly person is doing. So if you want to take them home and memorize some of the exercise, then you could fit them in and they double up on the exercise, so they are more fit enough to control the effort of themselves to move around without have to use one cane or stick, or you have to push them around when they could exercise, because the body is more strong enough to maintain the function of the body.
Okay. Now, someone in their 80s, they'll come to the gym to do an exercise. What would be the exercise they would gravitate to? What would be the movements that you would look for? What would you look for?
Well, the first thing I do, I start to monitor and ask a certain question about your condition, your function of the body. Then it's from there, then I know what kind of exercise to give you to a certain level with a small amount of weight until you become stronger and stronger, and then from there you reach a level where you can maintain heavier weights to use so that you can maintain a better, stronger body.
Now, sticking with that same age group in the 80s, what sort of exercise would you recommend for somebody in their 80s? How strenuous would that exercise be?
Well, what you know, we normally do physical exercise first, so to see how their limbs is functional to do certain exercise. And if the body is flexible to do it, then we get them 6 or 8 repetitions with no weights until we find that the body could manage the movement without any aches and pains. And then from there, we start to use light dumbbell and see how they love to do the exercise. And once they find themselves into a condition flexible, then you join the party and everybody start to use lighter weight, and we push the thing under the counter, test them out, see if they could gravitate the movements, and it's from there we know exactly where the body getting stronger, and they accept the reality that if you don't move the body, you lose the body. So that's the basic thing we do, and from there, we encourage people to eat healthy. Because the basic thing, if we eat healthy, our body could be strong enough to maintain certain resistance of exercise.
You said something important just now. If you don't use the body, you lose the body. And the body, like one would note, houses our spirit, it houses our mind. And in all honesty, if that housing is deteriorated, then it will affect the rest of the other things that it houses, right?
The basic thing, you have to have the spirit first, because without the spirit, you don't have the mind or the body. They all work as a component together. If you think you're going to jump one, you're in trouble. So it's best you look for the first one, and the second one, the third one is your physical body.
Yeah.
And if you can maintain that functioning, then you find that yourself is more happier, you're less liable to have different defect of the body, and you can move on life in a simple way. It's a process.
Yes, your spirit, most important because it inspires.
Body and mind.
And the mind.
They work together.
And they work together, and the body
you have to feed
goes
the body
along
to
with
make
them
the
too.
Mind
right.
Work together. So there is a balance you have to put together. And to keep the balance together, you have to know yourself. If you know yourself, you know exactly what to do to manage your health. And health is once, and once you lose it, my brother, it's over. Another thing, we have a problem in our society, everybody is getting fat, bigger, and sicker. No, not because you're in front of me, but it's a public figure that we are suffering from. Yeah. Overweight. We're eating too much artificial stuff. We don't go to the market and divert interest into find out what kind of fruits and vegetables or meat is good, healthy for the body to function. We overload the body with different things, damage your kidney, damage your liver, function, dysfunction of the heart, damage your eyes, and then what happens to you physically? We all break right down to the ground. Then the last thing, you're going to the doctor, and the doctor will diagnose you with a whole pile of junk stuff, but you never tell you to go to the market. And who you think to believe? We need to expose the nation in a whole to where health is concerned, nutrition, rest, and exercise.
Nutrition, rest, and exercise. That's the formula.
It's almost a component with the spirit, the soul, and the body.
Yes.
If we use these two line of things, we will not suffer with all these stress, health problems we have in our society. Who created? We. Who tend to it? We. And if we don't take care of it, who will take care of it for you? Your doctor can't do it. The doctor must eat out your money. But when you do recognize what you need to do, because the body already shut down. I want the body shut down, my brother. There's no ways. Your hope is gone. So we need to exercise, eat healthy, and rest. If we do these three components too, as we mentioned the first 2, 3, then we can move.
What would be one of the popular exercises in here that the residents would come and do?
The first exercise we normally make the stretch, do a little bit of warm-up stretching exercise. That's important because you need to get this blood flow. And once you get the blood flow, the body will be able to have a little bit of energy to move. But you can't come in with a tight body because then you could have injury. And injury is what you don't want to have at a certain age. Another part of our body where we need, a lot of us suffering from, is our hip. And if we don't exercise, move around, we suffer from hip problem. And you'll find you have to deal with a doctor, deal with punishment of the health of the body. But if you exercise and come to the place, we give you information how to avoid all this wrangling and tangling of the body, then you need to come to Health PH.
Gym.
Exactly.
And your gym is open to members of the public?
Any public, anybody, any size, any age. We open from 5 in the morning to 8 in the night. So we have no division. We never come in, you pay your fee. Well, in here we keep discipline. You can't come in, no short pants and sloppy clothes there. We not tolerate that in there. You have to come properly, just male and female. Girlfriend and boyfriend, no work in here. If you pay, you're welcome to the party. If you don't pay, you got to stay outside. So the gym keep very disciplined. Only members are allowed in here. But because you're not a member and it's a part of the age group, you're welcome in here anytime.
So people at our age can come at any time?
Anytime.
And they will be attended to regardless of whether they pay or not?
No, you have to pay unless you're attached to the institution.
Oh, the institution people are the ones that don't pay.
You're attached over there, then we give in we give a break.
Okay.
But if they come constantly, then you have to support financial because
everything costs maintenance and everything.
Yeah, you know, so that is the whole subject of take your health. You have to find responsibility.
Yeah.
responsibility comes with money.
I agree. I agree.
So
Okay.
it is very important that we meet up. But what I would like to do one of these days, we have one exercise program so we could show the public where people have a disability could exercise right in here. You don't have nothing severe. There are film the thing that people actually suffer from. Stroke, you work right in here on a regular basis. You know? So we need to get education to the public about health and wellness where they are aware that if you need to exercise to maintain a better health.
When we come back, we will hear from the Executive Director of Help Age Belize, Ivorine Bulwa, about the situation that the elderly population is facing in Belize. She expressed appreciation for the companies and individuals who continue to show support through the years.
Shell V-Power with 3 times more cleaning and friction-reducing molecules. Go well. Go Shell.
I remember the days when trucks used to line up at the Guatemala border, and we could have only watch as they come in loaded with LPG and then left with we Belizean dollars. Things changed since, because the Belizeans they drive now, that we have the jobs, and I'm definitely proud to be able to keep my dollars home. Either Elvis Roaches, and either one of the Belizean drivers for the National Gas Company. I haul butane from the new state-of-the-art terminal at the port of Big Creek. The hard work, but at the end of the day, I go home to my family and provide for them. Thanks to NGC, I did do my lead part to build my country. We the all Belizeans on this team, and we proud to work hard to deliver one product will last longer and give you more value for money. I proud to work at NGC, and for you we Belizean people.
The National Gas Company Belize Limited, fueling Belize forward.
We are the Barry, offering you great products, good service, and of course, the lowest prices in the entire country. Visit us in Belize City, Belmopan, San Ignacio Cayo, Orange, and now in San Pedro, La Isla Bonita. The Barry. Get more? Be less.
Since 2008, the Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust has created opportunities for Belizeans to develop themselves and their communities. The trust employs tools that are intuitive, collaborative, and accessible so that every Belizean is empowered to achieve their full potential. Over 200,000 Belizeans have been impacted because of our various initiatives. The Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust, empowering Belizeans of today to create the Belize of tomorrow.
It don't matter what part of the jewel you come from.
All right. I'm with Ms. Ivorine Bulwa, who is the Executive Director of Help Age Belize. Ms. Ivorine, I had a good time here talking with the folks at Help Age Belize a while ago. Thanks for agreeing to take the time off to talk to me. I guess we could start off, first of all, by looking at the situation here at Help Age Belize. How are things here at Help Age Belize?
Beautiful. You know, Help Age has been around since 1984. We have 2 residential homes, one in Belize City, one at Octavia Way in San Ignacio, and 9 day centers across the country, one in St. Bite, one in Hopkins, Punta Gorda, Dangriga, Belmopan, Benke, Orange Walk, Corozal, Belize City.
How was Help Age started and how is it funded?
Help Age is a non-governmental organization, and we have our seniors like Mrs. Courtney, we had Mr. Macmillan, we had Justice Singh, Miss Waite. All of these outstanding Belizean and non-Belizean expats who were involved in, the formation of Help Age Belize. Even Mrs. Sylvester was a part of that establishment, yes, Miss Mardy. And we have been operating as an NGO, We're an affiliate of HelpAge International, and we receive quite a number of funds from the government of Belize. The government of Belize support us tremendously, and we get support from entities like BEL, Social Security, ICB, Grace Kennedy. We have persons like Mr. Salvador Habet, who have been doing support to us years. We have individuals. We have a great Belizean nurse, Janice Longobardi in Los Angeles. We have Miss, I don't know if it's a Miss or Mr. A. Humes, but that person is an anonymous donor, A. Humes, and many, many Belizean individuals that support us. And I must say we have like 137 volunteers across the country. That makes HelpAge beautiful, that contribute to the delivery of service to older persons in Belize.
Now, how many clients do you have here at HelpAge?
We serve like a maximum of 125 at the day centers. The residential homes have between 30 and 34 clients at any given time. So we have a large body of older persons being served in our institution.
Now, are you satisfied with how our elderly are being treated? What would be your comments on how we should be treating our elderly at this time in our country? Are we doing good enough?
I don't think so. The COVID exposed the vulnerability, and this is why you find out the team focus on the resilience and contributions of older women. It speaks specifically to older women because of the gaps, older women. But I just want to say older women traditionally have been in the caring sphere of things, and because of that, they receive no pay. We have our teachers, we have our nurses in nurturing areas of work. And their service, because there are a large number of individuals, their salary does not commensurate with the work that they do. And after these individuals, they die, or not really die, when they retire. There's a challenge to survive. We also look at a large number of our women. They are lobbying behind the politicians. They are the grassroots. We have mothers who have been nurturers to great people like you. We have or women who are out there lobbying. They're working behind their husbands, and they're not well commensurated. So the gap was exhibited when COVID came around. Why I say the gap? Because jobs were lost. Who were the first to be affected? The carers. There were women in the tourism industry. All right, they lost their jobs. We had individuals who had reduction in the pay, government workers, teachers, nurses. And we had women who had no form of income. All right, the COVID hit globally. So remittance that they were receiving from the states were also affected. We had older persons who had to join up with other elderly with a little better means and to survive. We had older persons whose means of the Belize context who had to survive. Yeah. And while it shut down, they couldn't shut down. They were out there walking around selling their stuff. So they were greatly affected. And on the other hand, we need to look at the health situation in Belize. I know that the survey that was done in 2006 showed that 13.1% of the adult population suffered from chronic disease conditions. Yeah. And we are seeing the effects of it. You're talking about the diabetes. You're talking about the hypertension. And they have the comorbidities or the complications. So many persons with renal failure or kidney failure, so many individuals with strokes, all right? So many individuals with amputation because of the diabetes or hypertensive situation. They lost limbs, their lower limbs, their foot. And it's an indication that all is not well. You know, the demands for support, the demands for assistive devices like beds, wheelchairs, walkers, it speaks volume to the quality of life. It speaks volume that there are gaps in the health system. It also speaks volume. We were when COVID came, we didn't close down. We traveled the country. We exercised precautionary measures, but we were able to see firsthand how older persons were living, and we had to pay attention to older, younger women because their plight was we couldn't turn our faces. We had to provide the support, and so we had entities like I said earlier, BEL and Social Security who funded us, and we were able to go out there and serve these people, offer them support. I also noticed, you know, we traveled to within homes. We saw elderly at home at 10. They're alone at home. And all right, have you taken your medication? Okay, I'm supposed to take my medication after meals. It also gives you a reflection of what level of education being offered to older persons when they go to these clinics. Do they understand how to take their medication? Yes, after meals, but the frequency is supposed to be every hour or every 6 hours. So the efficacy of treatment is also something that we need to look at. We observed that older persons had bags of the same medication. So you get an understanding, are they taking their medication and are they mismanaging themselves? Are they creating additional health problems for themselves? And so it makes you reflect and you ask yourself, how involved is primary prevention as it pertains to the care of our clients? We also question, we have clinics, specialist clinics. What's the purpose of a specialist clinic? Is it there to ensure that you maintain wellness? Or diabetics screen for their A1C test to make sure their blood sugar level at a good level? Or diabetics check their circulation, assessment of their circulation in their foot. Are their eyes checks? Do all males get their prostate checks done? And you question that because we see our older persons with so many complications.
Yeah. Well, how can we turn all this around?
It can be turned around because then we have got to look at policy. Health policy.
Health policy.
Health policy. Because we have got, you go to the health clinic. What's the purpose of that health clinic? Is it there to ensure that our older person age with wellness, with dignity? And if you're diagnosed with diabetes, it's not the end of the road. How do I maintain wellness, even living with diabetes? So I have to have diet management, group support required, and that intensive follow-up care. Do I understand how to better care for myself? And these are issues that we are confronted with. Yes, HelpAge is here. We are able to identify those issues, but there are gaps as it relates to referrals. And if you do referral, the counter referral, there are gaps in those areas. Those areas need to be strengthened. And not only, because if you look at persons' constitutional rights, if you look at people's human rights, if you look at issues of discrimination, the quality of care is a right. Is a right. Yes. And so we need to do something about that.
What about those that are on the streets? I mean, it hurts you to see so many of our elderly people on the streets. It also hurts to see an elderly person living all alone, you know, trying to fend for himself or herself. How do you bridge all of that?
It saddens you, and you can't do it alone. So, you know, it's like HelpAge. We are here serving a group of older persons, but that is not enough. Because where is the support service? If you identify gaps, where do you turn to? So collectively, as part of entities working with and on behalf of older persons, we need to join forces. We need to collaborate. It's not good enough to say that, oh, HelpAge is doing this, HelpAge, but we're not doing enough because one person out there being affected is one person too much. So we have got to join forces. I must say I see a change where the National Council of Aging is doing a new strategic direction, new strategic plan. And we're I'm a member of that council, and we're looking at legislative issues that need to be addressed. We're looking at policy issues because these things need to be looked at. And when you have that from there, you can find out that services and older person also need to be kept apprised of what is going on, because we need to bring them in to come in and agitate, for change.
Cannot be every day facing stress as to wondering where the next meal will come from, how he'll survive or he or she will survive, Yeah, and I think we have to find a way to allow our senior citizens to age with dignity.
Yes, certainly. And I also look at that two-pronged approach where we need to look at the young. You have to look at the young person investing in wellness, investing for retirement, because I think quite a number of older persons or senior, whether it's public officers, they are not prepared for retirement. And because we have served so many retirees who are out there with social needs, with gaps, and we can do just so much, but we try. But the gaps exist with referrals. The gaps exist with support.
In the cases of our elderly, how important it is that they can count on their family support, in support of particularly the younger members of their family, appreciating the fact that they are older now, and that if they, as young people, live that long, they will be in that same position sooner, at some time or the other in their lives. Let's talk to me about this, the family support, how important it is for elderly people.
I think we have got to examine the social structure. We have a challenge with single-headed homes. We have issues with large families, absentee fathers, and we have a young population, which is also an indication that our children were having children, and our children were not afforded the opportunity to develop skills, so they evolved delinquents. We have got to look at the situation of poverty, 60% of this population. Yeah. So we have a very young population, and we're confronted with poverty. Poverty is like a cycle. So everyone out there is fending for themselves. So grandma, grandpa has to fend for him or herself, which is unacceptable. So then we look at social structures to support the church, other entities to support. I also think that it's important to note that there are communities who rarely look after their elderly. We have communities across the country that serve their elderly. We have older persons who have made preparation for retirement, and they have entrusted loved ones to care for them. Loved ones sees an opportunity to enrich themselves so that elderly is at the mercy of the neighbors and the mercy of friends. And it is so sad that quite a number of these elderlies have lost their friends. Their friends have died, or their friends are affected by some form of illness, so that opportunity to socialize is tremendously decreased. So they are left isolated. So, so what structure in place to ensure that these persons who are living in isolation get that support?
Well, I had a wonderful time today at HelpAge Belize. I really enjoyed the company. I enjoyed what I saw. And I'll tell you what, it reinforced my belief that we are on the right track when we talk about faith, hope, and love, right? Because those are the three important things. Love inspires. Faith allows us to set our goals and believe in our goals. That's what faith does. And hope keeps us moving towards it, because hope should always be there. So, hey, words of wisdom from St. Paul. These three things remain: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. Spread the love, and thanks for choosing love. Belize Watch. Knowledge of the past, impacting the present, building the future.
Celebration time. It don't matter what part of the jewel they come from. You that you and me that me. But guess what?